I just thought I'd touch base for just a few minutes with everybody and let them know that God's still on the throne. Been encouraged, absolutely overwhelmed at the goodness of God. I've been amazed at the response to the new book, Wolves Among Lambs. I just got an email from a pastor that I've known for years, hadn't seen in a while. He said, I received your new book in the mail yesterday afternoon. Finished reading it this morning. That just blew my mind. I mean, this thing is 400 pages. And I don't know how many people have said, Brother Stacey, when I started reading this book, I couldn't put it down. And that was my prayer, is that it would be easy to read, that it would flow and tell my story and things that happened to me when I was a young man that very few people knew about until the Lord let me tell it. And who would have ever dreamed back as a 17-year-old boy the things that I endured and had to go through, that God would allow me one day to be able to draw from those experiences, to be a help, be an encouragement to people, and take it and use it for good and use it for His honor and glory. And I don't know that I've ever really publicly thanked God for allowing me to be the victim. He allowed it. He didn't cause it to happen, but He allowed it to happen. And now I've got just a completely different perspective on people that have been a victim of sexual abuse. Unlike a lot of people, if it's something you've never experienced, it's impossible to relate. But God has uniquely, I believe, prepared me for such a time as this to tell my story. And I've just been amazed at the reception. I've been amazed at the open doors. We went down to CPAC on Friday. I got a lady in my church that did an amazing job just lining up a few doing different interviews, and we got down there, and in between going in and out and watching Vice President Pence give a speech and Kellyanne Conway and Ted Cruz and others, we had probably 8 interviews. Just some of them were impromptu, different radio stations, television stations, people with blogs, people with webcast or whatever, and we would just give them a flyer and say, this is what we're talking about, promoting this book, and it was like, sit down, we want to talk to you. And I was just amazed at the reception, and so many people had so many encouraging things to say. And so I just want to thank the Lord. The book is out. It's on Amazon. It's last time I checked this morning, it was number 3 on the bestseller new releases list under the sexual abuse category. And so folks are looking at it, and the word's getting out. In this book, I tell my story. I tell about what happened here at Calvary last year in the allegations that Sarah Jackson made against the former pastor, Cameron Giovanelli. I tell all about that, tell all about the behind-the-scenes conversations with North Valley. And in this book, I also address my different critics, people that were very vocal, those that were most vocal. And I addressed those. I didn't say anything back last May and June when those people were criticizing. I just let it go, but I really felt liberty to take their comments and take their perspective and just refute it and expose the error in that way of thinking from the Scripture. So I deal with that in this book as well. And then the second half of the book is pretty much just how we can maybe restore our credibility in our churches and different things we can do, having a clear position on sexual abuse. I give a lot of statistics in there. It's just shocking, really, at the things that I learned researching for this book. It never occurred to me that it was as bad as it is. I mean, it's astronomical. The FBI estimates that each child has almost a 25% chance of being molested. I mean, that absolutely blows my mind. And they believe that 1 in 10 men have molested children, with only 3% chance of being caught for their crimes. And so when we hear these numbers about what's going on in our churches, that's 3% probably of the actual numbers statistically. And that's heartbreaking. Male offenders who abused girls had an average of 52 victims each. Let that sink in. Men who molested boys had an astonishing average of 150 victims each. This is on page 259 of my book. These are statistics according to the FBI and other reliable sources. 1 out of 5 girls and 1 out of 6 boys will be molested before their 18th birthday. And when you hear preachers and you hear Christians say, oh, we don't have a problem, there's not an epidemic, man, they're completely detached from reality. And I was blown away when I began to research this book that not only do we have a problem, but I believe it's much worse than even we know. And so I'm very grateful for the Lord letting me get this book out. And I'm thankful to be finished with it. It's probably one of the most deepest, darkest, most repulsive subjects known to man is pedophilia and child molestation and those things. And just being in that mindset for those several months while I was writing this book was very difficult, and I had to pray a lot and ask God to help me. And I just feel like now that I've gotten this off my heart and got this book out, I feel like I've had a new lease on life. God's doing amazing work in our church. I mean, we've been in the state of revival the last 3 weeks probably. People getting saved, joining the church. God's just working. We've got missions conference starting tomorrow night. It's one reason why I got my work clothes on. We've been up here hanging flags and getting everything ready for our missionaries coming in. Dr. Eric Tharp will be coming in and preaching for us tomorrow night through Sunday. And we're just excited about what the Lord's doing here at Calvary Baptist Church. But I wanted to just touch base with everybody. Thank them for praying. The book's on Amazon. It's also at Sure Word Publications. If you're an Amazon Prime member, it'd be cheaper for you to get it off Amazon. But if you're not, you can buy it through our website, wolvesamonglambs.com, which is a site within our Sure Word Publications website. You can go order it there. We'll get it to you. It's in an ebook format. And so I trust that you'll take a few minutes and read the book, share it with somebody that you know maybe has been an abuse victim or someone that's been touched, maybe someone in their family's been touched by this tragedy. And there is hope and there's healing after sexual abuse in churches. I'm thankful for all the churches that are not covering it up. I'm thankful for the ones that are doing something about it, those that are putting up these firewalls and these protections. I'm thankful for these churches that are not protecting the pedophiles. I'm thankful for the ones that give a voice and an ear to those that have been abused and listen to them and help them. Because not everybody's involved in the cover-up aspects of it, but too many are, unfortunately. And so I deal with that in this book, and I just hope that you'll keep praying that the Lord will use it to be a help and encouragement. And again, thanks so very much for all the positive feedback. I expected quite a bit of negative feedback so far. There's been very little. I'm sure there will be when word leaks out of what all is in the book and some of my comments and some of my takes on different things. But hey, greater is He that's in us than he that's in the world. I'm not worried about it. I did what God told me to do. I've got perfect peace about mine and the Lord, and appreciate God giving us strength and courage and help, and we covered your prayers. And if you hadn't had a chance to read the book, go get it, ebook or in the paperback. Several people asked if we're going to do it in a hardback. We might at some point. I didn't want to because it was going to be like a 5-week turnaround. I didn't want to wait another 5 weeks to get the book out, so we went ahead and launched it in the paperback form. But at some point we may have it in the hardback. But in any case, hope you'll get it. Hope you'll read it. Hope it's a blessing. And thank you again so much for your time. And we covered your prayers.